Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Happy Cast. I am one of your hosts, Andrew, and as always, joined by the lovely Stephanie, Stonebraker, fresh out of school. And Dylan, once again, could not make it here, but I swear to God, he will be here because he probably is going to have a lot of editing work to do after this, but these next few days. And it's all made better by the fact that I am disappearing for a few weeks to go to another state, so I want to mess with any of this. So I'm excited about that. Thanks, Dylan, ahead of time for all the editing that you do on these episodes. But we've got a special episode for everyone. Recently, the inaugural edition of the Mammoth 200 took place, and we're doing a few episodes, at least 2 so far, with some of the finishers of the Mammoth 200. Kind of a roundtable discussion. On this episode, we have 5 guests with all different unique stories. It was kind of interesting when I went through everyone, just like, oh yeah, they all came into this race with some fun stuff attached to it. So we're super excited to have these 5 individuals on. From someone doing their very first 200-mile race with Christian. We have someone that, we had her on before in the past. She's kind of like a scout, and she always seems to run with someone named Tandy. So I'm curious how you are able to do these 200-mile races with someone the whole way, and that would be Carol Northrup. We have someone that we bullied and badgered, well, I think the community did, into doing this race, the Queen of 200s. She ended up doing the Mammoth 200.
Course record holder.
Course record holder. Rachel Entrekin, who was on earlier after Cocodona this year. We got someone who decided to spend their anniversary not only doing this race himself, but making his wife do it, or was it vice versa? I don't know. And with Kevin Goldberg. I was about to say something about that, Kevin? No?
We're torn on who peer pressured who into signing up for it, but
we're going to give you plenty of time to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Peer pressure. And one of my favorites is I don't even know if he wanted to do this race. It just happened to line up on his ridiculous calendar. He's doing every 200 that, at least mainstream 200 that I can think of. And by the grace of God, he's finishing all these races, even somehow being like third and DFL at Oregon 200 before they had to cancel that race. We got Adam Williams joining us, rounding out all 5 participants and finishers of the inaugural year of the Mammoth 200. And no, there's more than 5 people that finished this race. I know context is everything. But so welcome everyone. If you can all unmute your mics and collectively make one giant noise together. Just say, hey, what's up? Yeah,
hey.
Yeah, there we go. Get that out of the way because there's a lot of stories to tell. But first and foremost, I kind of just want to go to each one of you and see how recovery is going, but also your initial immediate thoughts about the Mammoth 200. Christian, I'm going to start with you, buddy. How's recovery going, and what are your first immediate thoughts about the Mammoth 200?
Recovery's going really well. I've got a weird tendon thing happening in my foot that only bothers me when I put on running shoes, which is very odd. But otherwise, I'd be back to running. I feel good. I actually went back to work today, so it's a downside. But my initial thoughts were this was everything it was built to be. I was so impressed with the organization and the professionalism that Tim and Hillary brought to the table with this. The course was stunning. It was my first 200, and I can't imagine having a better experience.
That's very nice. I'm very curious about some of your thoughts because, this was your first 200, and you got to experience an inaugural year of a company doing their first of that distance. So there's a lot of learning curves, and so you got the best of everything immediately. Kevin, I'm going to go with you next, buddy. How's recovery? And Taco Bell excluded. Your immediate thoughts on the Mammoth 200?
Taco Bell excluded. Okay.
We'll get to that
so,
in a second.
Yeah. So recovery's been pretty good for me. This is my first time not going through a night 3, and I'm a big fan of that. I think it definitely helps to only be out there for 2 nights. Not sleeping during the race was tough, but recovery's been above average for 200s, at least for me. So I'm feeling pretty good, and things seem to be pretty much back to normal. What are we, 7-8 days post Mammoth? And then my take on the race, yeah, I mean, echo what Christian said. I probably wouldn't have known it was an inaugural race if I didn't know it was an inaugural race. Things were pretty dialed. There were a few things here and there, like if I am offered instant mashed potatoes one more time as real food, I might, I don't know, spontaneously combust. But a few things that I think they'll definitely improve upon next year. But man, overall, like, so freaking dialed. It was a really, really great race. I would do it again myself, and I would recommend it to anyone who was 200 curious.
Yes, you do resemble the drummer from Spinal Tap, just spontaneously combusting left and right over there. Adam, we're going to go to you next. I'm pretty sure at this point you're kind of numb to everything, but what are your post-race thoughts in recovery?
A lot of others have said it already. This was a really well put together race. I think that it is the organization's first 200. And I mean, at times that kind of showed, but there's learning curves with any inaugural race. But the way that they approach it was just with such professionalism that showed up more than anything else. And Eastern Sierra is amazing and beautiful. I've already recommended this race to some folks that were asking what they should do for their 200. And so I highly recommend it to anyone else. This was a great experience, and really glad I got down before the storms came in, because that looked tough, I would say. I'm sure that might come up later. But yeah, recovery's been going good. Back to running. Still running. I don't know. Just going.
Never stop running. Literally every day I open Strava, you're at least doing 8 miles, even while the race is still going on. So I'm just, I don't know if you're going out there on the course and just volunteer pacing people a few miles, or pretty ridiculous. Rachel, we're going to go to you next with your shiny hat. I'm assuming you like to run based off of it. It speaks to who you are. So immediate thoughts, and how is recovery going?
Yeah, I kind of echo what everyone else has been saying. I think that it was especially when you look at a first year race and the amount of time that people are out there for things to go wrong. I think very few things did. I mean, again, there were a couple of things that I think will be improved upon for upcoming years, but as a whole, I thought it was super well done. I did like the course a whole lot more than I thought I was going to, especially being an Eastern Sierra snob. I thought the Glass Mountain section was really pretty. I thought they timed it really well with the leaves changing, so that was really nice. And then I was lucky to have pretty good weather the whole time. I know that is not the case for everyone, but I had great weather, so that was great. And then, yeah, recovery's going pretty good. I have been running the past, couple of days now and feeling good. So yeah, I definitely echo. I think the 2 nights of missing sleep is pretty nice. That's kind of something that I'm a little more used to. That 3rd night is rough. So.
And then Carol, finally with you, how's recovery going, and what are your first thoughts regarding this race?
Yeah, recovery's going okay. I'm back out there, but slow and creaky still, but getting back out there. And yeah, I'll echo what everyone said. You know, I ran another inaugural race this year so I was a little bit nervous. Let's just say I was a little bit nervous about this one. And it couldn't have gone better. I think other than I would have killed for a burger before it was all said and done, I have no complaints. So I think, I felt like it was well marked. It was a gorgeous course. Like Rachel said, the timing was great. I was not quite lucky enough, almost made it off the mountain. But before that, I literally thought I was going to die up there when the lightning came in. But you can't fault the RDs for that. Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. The colors were great. And pretty much, and I liked the variety of the course. It was, it was beautiful the whole way through, but sort of different kinds of beautiful, which I really appreciated.
Now, Carol, we're going to keep it on you because the few times I've met you, you usually run with Tandy. How long have you been running with this person, and how is it like running with someone that long the entire time? What are the challenges with that?
Well, actually, we really just started. We're both from Prescott, and we just trained together for the Monster last spring, and we sort of have a similar style. We're both kind of plotters, just like kind of keep grunting it out, and similar paces. And we actually didn't go into this race planning to run it together, but she has trouble with her sleep plan, and I had a plan, and her plan was we'll see how it goes. So she basically kind of stuck with me. We ran together and we did in the Monster too, ran together a lot the first day, but then, and honestly, she was hanging back with me. And so we sort of stuck it out together until then the last night, she pulled ahead. I sort of sent her on her way, and she ended up finishing a little bit ahead of me. But and it was nice. We both had a couple of pacers, but not enough. We only had like maybe, I don't know, I think 50 miles of pacing together between the two of us. So it was nice that we were together. We sort of paced each other, and we kind of joked, if you have pacers and if your pacer hands you a sandwich or whatever, that's muling, but if it's another runner, it's cool. So so the two of us were, there's a lot of that going on. There was a lot of like, crap, whatever, it's not tasting good anymore. Well, I have some, she carries those Baby Bell cheeses that, man, they hit the spot coming into Sawmill. That seemed like a long stretch there from Green Church to Sawmill. And so, anyway, so yeah, but it was nice and we were together, but not, we'd sort of get sort of in our own head there, just sort of running quietly together through the night. But it was nice having someone else there.
Yeah. I just like how you approach races, like you're planning for them. You're very helpful during the Monster recon that we had earlier this year. So Kevin, I got to go to you, man, because I have some questions. One, now's your time to justify you and your wife spending your anniversary at this race. But not only that, but you had the opportunity to, after this race, maybe go somewhere for your anniversary. But you decided to run for Taco Bell. So, so what's going on there? How was it like? Knowing that your wife is out there doing 200 with you, how was the experience, and why did you decide to blow all your banked calorie reserve on Taco Bell afterwards?
Well, it was awesome doing this as an anniversary trip. The Saturday of the race was Melanie and mine's 11th year anniversary. So, once you get to a certain point, you don't need to spend it together. And it was a cool way to do something hard in the same geographic region. So we did call each other at midnight on our anniversary. We did a couple of phone pacing sections. We were on the phone for 90 minutes, mostly in silence. Thankful for the good service on the course. And yeah, it was a really great anniversary. I had planned to finish, sleep, shower, and then go see her on the course, but she was too fast, so I actually didn't have time to do that. I had time to sleep, shower, and see her at the finish line. So that worked out well. And I'd say A+ anniversary, would do again, and recommend it to anyone looking for a way to celebrate any number of years together. We were not the only anniversary out there, Andrew. I don't know if you knew that. There was a first-year anniversary.
Yeah.
That's
first year. That's pretty bold.
That is super bold.
That's what I was thinking too.
Made you feel better about your decision.
Yeah. And then for the Taco Bell part of it, I had some friends who wanted to do the Taco Bell 50K. For those who don't know, it's like a real thing. It's in Denver, 31 miles around Denver. You hit 10 Taco Bells. You have to eat at 9 of them. There's all these rules. It's like an official thing. There were over 500 people who started. I counted 10 pairs of alpha flies, which is insane. And it was a wild event. I ate 3 tacos, 1 Crunchwrap Supreme, 1 7-layer cheesy burrito, 1 cinnamon twist, 4 apple empanadas, and 2 Baja Blast energy drink things. And it was great. What a great way to recover from Mammoth 200.
How much of the Mammoth were you running with still? Like,
Oh, it was I mean, I'm not like an Adam Williams. I recover after these things and like chill. It was dumb, and I would not recommend. Like, it was like 31 miles was too much. But especially with all that terrible food. But I might get Taco Bell for dinner tonight. I feel like I need to like sit down and enjoy Taco Bell now that I've not enjoyed it. If that makes sense.
is there someone here that's against Taco Bell? Like, we all are in agreement it's the perfect food, right? Okay, well, we can edit that
I don't know
out.
about perfect food.
It's perfect.
Crunchwrap, just perfect food. It's like the calzone of burritos. Like, you just take it everywhere. It's not messy. It's perfect. Like, so perfect segue into Adam. Adam, you've had quite the interesting year. You've had basically what I am calling kind of a prison sentence, where you just are committed to your whole year is to these races. You do one, you got to get ready for the next one. So kind of just like, what is the process as you get near the end of the year going into these later races? Like, how are you physically feeling going into these races, and is it all becoming kind of a blur for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say you hit it on the head there. I've definitely kind of feel like Groundhog's Day, just over and over, waking up. Oh, I have another race to get ready for and go to. The beginning of the summer, I started it with in April with races there, and everything was nicely spaced apart. I had like 4 or 5 weeks to recover between the 200s, but once Summit in August happened, now it's just been every 2 or 3 weeks there's a new race that I'm heading to, and so that's been really rough.
Are you saying 2 to 3 because you're accounting for like travel time between the races, or is it less than 2 to 3? Like 2 to 3 from one finish?
I guess I'm saying 2 weeks because one starts on a Friday and the next one starts on a Friday. It's really less than that, if depending on how long I take.
That's what I'm saying.
So
Yeah.
it's like 10 days.
Yeah. I feel like you need to clarify that, because 2 to 3 sounds a little bit nicer than 10 days.
And then, how many do you have planned? When's the
I'm doing 9 total. So Moab on Friday here is my last one, I think, that I'm registered for.
So far, at least.
Yeah.
At the rate these 200s are popping up, new ones all the time.
But Mammoth was great. Like, it was a nice, fast race, and I felt really good after it. Unlike other ones, which were a lot more technical, I just feel a little sore. Now I'm kind of ready for this big run around the desert.
Yeah, Moab, that's a good one to end on. It's just some of the hottest parts of racing I've ever experienced out there, especially last year. So Rachel, we're going to go to you next. It wasn't that long ago where this wasn't even on, I guess, your radar, but community pressure. Obviously, that's not the main reason, but we like to think that we, the trail running world, got you to do it, and you kicked some serious ass. So, just like what finally made you decide to do this race?
I mean, to be honest, it was a lot of community pressure. I obviously I had this race on my radar just because it was in an area that I was I say that I was familiar with the area, but Eastern Sierra is somewhere that I really, really love. I also obviously love Hillary. I hadn't hung out with Tim as much at that point, but I knew that they had this race going on, and I like to be supportive of things that I think are cool and things that my friends are doing that I think are awesome. And especially kind of, I guess, as I've gained a little bit more notoriety, I think the way that I like to approach it is kind of like a I rise, we rise sort of thing. So I think it feels good to kind of be at events that my friends are putting on, or like particularly community focused events. And yeah, I mean, I do think that it's fun to sign up for races that people want me to run. So having kind of all that peer pressure was a little bit fun, actually. My crew from Cocodona already had basically decided for me that I was going to do this race. But going to Western States and then having like the very public courting of please do the Mammoth on social media just kind of sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, it was a wonderful development. It didn't take that long, but they were, pressuring you themselves. They kept the Mammoth people just kept like reposting all your stories. Like, hey, it's get her to do it. Basically, it's like I wish someone could peer pressure me like that. But so Christian, your point of view. This is your first 200. So why did you choose this one? Then after this, we're going to talk a little bit about the course itself and some of the experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. So 200s weren't on my radar at all. I ran my first 100 last fall. Thank you, Stephanie.
Let's talk about that a little bit.
So this
You
is
guys
actually
apparently
how I
knew
met
each
him.
other.
He reached out to me and said, hey, will you Zoom call with me and my crew? And I was like, who is this man that's reaching out to me? And so I got Matt to hop on the Zoom call too, because he crewed me when I ran it. And then you had all your people. And then like I made friends with everybody. And then we tracked y'all through the whole race. So it was lots of fun.
The 100 that I did is called the Stagecoach Line 100, and it's from Flagstaff to the Grand Canyon. And I researching it, the only thing I could find was your podcast on it. Like that was the only thing. And so I listened to the podcast and I'm like, I need more information. So I reached out to Stephanie, and that's how her and I got to be introduced. I'm not afraid to ask anyone for anything. So Rachel, just something will be coming. So I had no intention. I thought 100 was amazing. I was totally down to do more hundreds, but 200 just seemed silly to me. And I really like showers, and those things didn't jive. And I mean, honestly, last Christmas Day, I have an 11-year-old, so 11-year-olds with Christmas is kind of crazy. And it was the end of the day, and the kids crashed out in a room, and I sit down and I have a thing that's, Sally McRae's Mammoth Project video came out. So I'm like, I'm just going to chill and watch that. And I watched it, and the course was so beautiful. I'm like, I think, and at this point I was in the lottery for Leadville. And I'm like, if I don't get into Leadville, I'm going to do that race. And my wife's like, you just went on a whole tirade about how 200 miles was ridiculous. And I'm like, well, that 200 miles looks really cool. So I didn't get into Leadville, and so I signed up for Mammoth.
Yeah, it was funny after we booked this first section for a session for the Mammoth recap. Stephanie's like, "Oh, hey, I know Christian. Like
No, what I said was, do you know Christian? And you're like, no. And I was like, well, let me tell you, I already know him.
I know him we talked a few times on our Instagram, but that's about it. Like, personally, no. It's like, oh, no, we FaceTimed before in the middle of the race. I'm like, cool. No one's ever asked me to help them with a FaceTime call during the middle of the race. But
it wasn't the middle of the race. It was like a month earlier. Like, we had a whole, we did a whole, prep, take notes, ask questions.
I'm so sorry. My whole headcanon has you got, like, this guy just FaceTiming you randomly in the middle of a race. Just like, we haven't met before. We need some help.
Andrew,
that'd been perfect.
I'll FaceTime you for my next race if you want.
Cool. That'd be a hell of a way to get my number. Just give it to him. Don't even tell him or tell me that he has it.
I got you. We'll set it up.
But it'll be kind of hard since I'll be ahead of you. So I can
God.
tell you what's coming. Maybe.
Yeah, you can call people ahead of you. That's allowed.
It's like, oh, just watch out for that horse carcass or something, the cow carcass. If you're doing Moab next month, please, or next week, please report if that cow carcass is still there. It's been there for 3 years now on the way to Island to Bridgerjack, Adam. So everyone wants to know if it's still there. It has not decomposed at all in 3 years. I don't know how.
I'll call in on FaceTime.
Yeah, please FaceTime me. So the race itself, I want to talk about some things. Stephanie, did you have a question?
I have a hypothetical question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so since y'all were talking about the weather being bad at the end, not all of y'all experienced that. If you were in a 200 miler that a part of the race had to be bad, would you pick it in the beginning when you're fresh, or would you prefer it at the end when it's already too late, nothing matters?
I would much prefer it at the beginning when I'm fresh. I would prefer anything terrible to happen in the beginning, I think. Because you just have a little bit more like faculties to manage things. And there's also, I mean, I know people say, oh, there's so much time in 200 milers, but you have quite a bit of time to kind of make up anything that goes wrong in the beginning of the race. I mean, you can take a look at Eder Ramirez's race at the Mammoth. I mean, he had a really rough first 100 miles and wound up in second male. So I think it's a little easier to kind of take things that are bad early on and then turn it around later. I don't know.
I
just
love
feel
how
like
you had to clear. You had to clarify second male.
second male.
Male.
Yeah, that's important. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like if I were, I don't know. And I'm very curious to hear like how the storms affected back of the Packers. Cause yeah, it's like if I had been in that situation, like that would be really tough and frustrating to know that you're so close to the finish and like you're stuck waiting at the summit or something. That just seems like mentally that would be a lot harder than if it were just at the beginning.
I think it's
I
really
can give
interesting.
you two examples that are both real. Cocodona was really miserable at the beginning of the year, but a couple days later, everything cleared up. It was nice, it was flowy, and you could start flying. But Divide, it was really nice in the beginning, and then we got hit with storms at the end, and you're just numb to it, and everything is miserable. You're going to get to the end, but it is a march. So I think it's fine because you're numb to it and you just don't care anymore. But if you're trying to get done, Rachel's right. Having that happen in the beginning so you can make it up is really helpful.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's kind of interesting. You said that when you first asked the question, I was like, oh, definitely at the end. Life sucks anyway at the end. You don't care. But I will say I got stuck. I got held up at the summit for 45 minutes. And talk about a moment. Okay, momentum might be a little bit strong. But you know, we're on the last leg. I got 7 miles to the finish. Let's go. And then, you know, you're been sitting for 45 minutes and going back out into the cold. And honestly, they held us for 45 minutes. And when we went back out, it didn't really seem like it was any better than it was when we went in, to be honest. But so yeah, if it starts in the beginning, the only problem with when you start out with shitty weather is that you don't know if it's going to end. It could just be for the beginning and then it's going to get better, or you could be in for 3 days worth of nasty weather instead of a few hours worth of nasty weather. So if you can promise me it's only going to be on day one, I definitely pick day one.
As someone who got more of his money's worth than anyone else here, I think, out of this course, I was not even to the summit when the weather hit. And so I was between Obsidian and Inyo. And yeah, the storm was awful. But at that point, it was just like, whatever. You know, it just didn't even matter. We're just going to keep on trucking. And then I think I'm the only one who did the reroute, which brought us we kind of skirted around the mountain to get the mileage, and we were right below the summit and looking up at the summit. Like I couldn't imagine being up there. It looked like that wind was 60 to 80 miles an hour with sheets of snow just blowing off of it. And then coming down off the mountain in the snow felt really good. So that part was really quite pleasant.
It's so interesting that y'all all ran the same race and definitely had different experiences.
I personally would. Someone that's constantly in a state of misery from the beginning of the race, I always find something to be just like in a bad mood about. I think I prefer it at the end because by then my mind doesn't know any better and I just kind of only march through like I just keep on trudging. I never really stop, but I never really go fast enough to warrant stopping, you know? So I'm just kind of like a slow moving, like ice cream truck, you know? Just like self-serving. I never stop. And so just like if it's a downpour, I don't go fast enough for it to let it affect me, or I'm slipping and sliding everywhere. I don't let torrential weather. The only thing that may stop me in my tracks is a bear, which I heard that you had kind of an encounter there at the Divide. But I think, and then I'm the type of person in the beginning, mentally, I always say the first day is the hardest for me because my mental clarity is strong enough to make the decision to quit, uh, instead of just being so, like I said, so numb to it to where I just keep going. Just like I don't want to quit. I don't want to be here. I don't want to quit either. I just think this is the rest of my life. I'm just gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep grinding. So. As far as the race, so this was the inaugural year. So for those of you that have done other 200s and 300s and other races like these, how was the vibe of the race? How was the setup? I mean, just could you know any better? Would you know that this was like a first time 200 by this race company? And I'll let anyone answer this. Whoever wants to go first.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't know that I would consider myself an expert, but I've done several different companies and races, and it was definitely, every race, even, I mean, no matter how many times I've done Cocodona a few times, I always have feedback for Cocodona. So, I mean, there's always stuff that you wish would be different, but I would not have pegged it as a first year race if I didn't know it was a first year race.
Kevin, what say you, buddy?
Yeah, I very much feel the same way. It was my first time ever doing an inaugural race because I tend to watch them and see the shit show unfold first and then decide if it's for me. That's what I did with Cocodona. That's what I did with some of the destination trail races. And so this is my first time jumping into an inaugural year, and I feel like I almost got gypped. It was too smooth. Everything went too smoothly. I was hoping for some big curveballs, but maybe next time.
What about you, Rachel?
Yeah, I guess to echo everyone else's sentiment, yeah, I don't think I necessarily would have known it was a first year race had I just signed up for it. But talking to like Hillary in particular, she and I had quite a bit of communication before the race. Like she was just so interested in like, how can I make this like not seem like it's a first year race? So I think just the nervousness from the race director's standpoint, especially getting kind of firsthand information on that regard, made it feel like it was a first year race. But really, I mean, nothing really went wrong. I mean, I've had multi-year races that have, had no course markings or like, aid stations that just like don't show up. I think that probably the experience from the front of the race might have been a little different because we did run into some like water drops that weren't visible or course markings that were like questionable or whatever. But I mean, I know I just called Hillary from the race like when I was running. I was like, hey, this course marking is weird. Like maybe someone changed that. And they were all really receptive to like that feedback in real time.
Was there signal a lot of the time throughout the race? I know a lot of people ask about signal. Like
I think so. I would say 80% of the race probably had signal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I set a PR, Andrew, and time in the live stream, so.
I kept seeing you in reels and like stories, man. I'm just like, Kevin's party has to be like, did they like help finance this race or there's just so much. Oh man, I wish I was there, man. We would have both been in those streams together.
It was a lot of fun.
Hand in hand.
We both know you're really fast when you're on your phone.
Yeah. You saw it. Adam had to witness the slowdown that is me pulling out my phone.
Like, dude, get out of the way.
Yeah, that's another thing. How did any of you even see each other out on the course other than I guess you two?
I saw Rachel on the start line.
Yeah, everyone saw Rachel on the start line.
Yeah.
Is it really truly that lonely out in the front, Rachel?
Yeah, it is. I think, well, I mean, I ran with people off and on for this like 80 miles. Like I ran probably 40 miles with Tara, which was really cool. But yeah, I mean, if I hadn't had pacers, then I would have seen nobody for like over 130 miles. So yeah, see anyone.
And is the course, like I know, especially with the Moab, that is a spiritual experience when you're out there alone at the night sky, one of the darkest places in the country. Just like, it's just like spiritual. Out there alone at night, I mean, do you get kind of the same vibes out there with this race? Like, does it just feel like you're in the middle of nothing and you're surrounded by?
It felt more front country to me than Moab. It felt more like ski resort and like towns and like, but I mean, it was still very dark and remote. Like I turned my headlamp off at one point just to vibe, and I mean, it was dark and quiet and awesome.
Yeah, I was in the Glass Mountains
Yeah.
Oh, cheers. All right. Yeah. I was in the Glass Mountains at night, and it was Katie Asmuth was pacing me, and we were both just like turning off our headlamps. Like, no, it's like you can't see anything back there because you're on kind of the east side of the mountain range. And the only thing that is on the other side of the Glass Mountains are the White Mountains, which are even more remote. So it felt like you were in the middle of nowhere in the Glass Mountain section for sure.
I saw like a dozen shooting stars through the Glass Mountains. It was amazing. You're muted, Andrew.
Oh, wow. That's a first. So yeah, what about you, Adam? You've done almost all the major ones here this year so far. How did the vibe of this race compare?
You could really tell that, like I think a lot of the energy that was brought by the organization, by the race directors, really came through with the runners. Like there was just a lot of, it felt like a new thing and a new experience, but it wasn't a hesitation. I think that there was just a confidence that was really transferred into all the runners, and that felt really good. And I think you build that culture from year one. So I think that's going to carry on through all the years. Every race has feedback and things you want to tweak year after year after year. And you're always going to have weather events or different things that come up that help you change how you're doing everything. But yeah, I think they just have a lot of experience running races, being organized, and that showed up even at this distance. I mean, there definitely needs to be some hamburgers and not just mashed potatoes, but
I mean, I remember the first year of Cocodona just kind of had similar offerings as far as the food, and they fixed that right up. So
it's a super easy fix to add food, right?
Yeah. So Christian, this is just, what did you expect? It's your first 200. Have you even been around one before as in crewing capacity, or is this your first time? And then just kind of how did it live up to what you expected as far as their offerings?
So yeah, I crewed and paced Arizona Monster earlier this year, and I also paced 40 miles of Sedona Canyons. So I have a little bit of experience with those two races. As far as my expectations went, until you guys mentioned hamburgers, I never even really thought about it. Like I'd be so happy to get to aid stations. It was just like, whatever, give me calories or, and send me on my way. And plus I figured by the time I got to the aid stations, all the food was gone anyways. So yeah, I went into the aid stations with low expectations. And they had something for me every time, so, and I don't know, the instant mashed potatoes were pretty damn good a couple of those times. So there's a lot to be said for that.
I have heard that at some races, even really well ran ones, that they run out of food as runners come through, but that didn't happen here.
No, I mean, I wasn't DFL, but I could smell them, and so I was definitely in the back quarter, and they had, while they might not have had what was on the menu for each aid station, they had options at every aid station. So yeah, I was really pleased.
I can relate to you, man. A lot of these races do at times run out of stuff, and it just takes forever to and we just resupply them, and we just came at a wrong time, and we miss out on some stuff unless we're willing to stay there longer. So I feel you. So that's great to know, because a lot of first year races, even with experience from other races, can struggle with the logistics. So as far as this race, what surprised you guys the most about this race? And Rachel, let's start with you.
I was surprised by the espresso machine at June Lake. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I think I wasn't necessarily surprised by the course, just because I'd been out and I had scouted a good bit of it. I do think I was shocked at how fast that first 100 miles ran, though, because I know Jimmy and I and like Max, I think, were kind of all in the front there. And I mean, I think Max was the slowest of us, and he did like under 22 hours. So yeah, that first 100 was really, really fast. I didn't really, I was looking at the elevation chart, and I guess part of my brain knew there's going to be a fast 100-miler, but I certainly wasn't expecting to like PR my trail 100 in a 200-mile race. And then, the back half I thought was, it's a net uphill, that back 100 miles. And a lot of it has pretty deep sand and like a little bit more of technical terrain. And I don't know, I didn't really look at what mile I was at any point during the race, but I decided arbitrarily that Lee Vining was my halfway point. And it just felt like that back half of the race took a lot longer than the front half did. So elevation chart is deceiving.
Yeah, that's so they also allot the runners a ton of time to do this race. Like I don't think anyone really timed out as far as I'll have to double check, but yeah, the overall cutoff time for this race for how fast the course ended up being was pretty big. Because everyone, even the people in the back, like they were just going a lot faster than I thought they would be going. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm curious as if they're just going to keep everything the same, because it could be one of the friendlier 200-mile races out there for those wanting to kind of dip their toes into some sort of like non-flat 200-mile race that still affords them a lot of time to do. So yeah, everyone just flying through the course. Which was interesting to see. So Kevin, what about you? What surprised you most about this race?
I think I was most surprised by my two big experiments or goals going into it were to not sleep, which I didn't think I was actually going to be able to do, but I wanted to just take the pressure of sleep off of it. And I ended up not sleeping, and the first 50 or so hours were fine. And then it got weird and probably detrimental, so I would fix that in
Please
elaborate.
Future.
I mean, I just was so, like people were calling me and I was just like mumbling and grunting, and like I just wasn't really there. So I slowed down a lot. If you look at my last 15 miles, it's like clear that something happened. But it worked out. I kind of rolled that dice and knew that would happen, and figured I'd save time by not like laying down and stopping. So I was surprised that I was able to do, if I count in the non-racing time, like between sleep, I think I was awake for like 65 hours, which is weird, and I've never done that before. And then efficiency in aid stations, like I was surprised myself there. I think I looked at the spot trackers and some Stravas, and I think there's only, I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's only one person who is more efficient in aid stations than me, and that's Rachel. I think I even had less downtime than Jimmy, which just shows how much faster Jimmy is than me. But I had really, really good aid station transitions in this race.
I saw that one of the comments. Apparently, Jimmy said he would have slept more if it wasn't for you, Rachel. Is that true? Is
Yeah, I think so. I was trying. I guess I was trying pretty hard to catch him the whole time. It was really fun to have a genuine race at the front where it was like he was always barely within reach. And so it was very motivating to keep going. And then when he and I at the end were kind of chatting, he was like, well, yeah, you were motivating me not to take. He said he would have taken like double the amount of dirt naps if I hadn't been right on his tail the whole time. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty special to have a race, because during Cocodona, I wasn't, again, we're going to ignore Eder, the silent ninja, but I didn't really see anybody close to me for a lot of the race until suddenly Eder was like right on my tail, and he was obviously moving much better than I was at that point. So to have an actual race where for the back 120 miles, it felt like we were both kind of pushing each other to keep it up was pretty cool, I thought.
So Carol, what surprised you most about this race?
I don't know. I think the amount of roads, there was a lot more road, double track, it was still beautiful. But I was expecting more single track, less roads. I think, I don't know, someone asked me percentage, and I don't know percentage, but like easily a third of it or more was dirt road or gravel road, which kind of surprised me. And I will say, I was kind of pleasantly surprised by the climb out of June Mountain. They made a big deal of it, I think, based on Rachel's scouting, which, and by the way, thank you very much I was following your Instagram post, and it was very helpful for those of us who couldn't get out there. As Andrew alluded to, usually I'm able to get on the course and scout it more, and I didn't. So it was nice to be prepared for that climb. But I will say, like, if I had to highlight a climb to be ready for, that would not have been the one. I'll tell you, that one out of Green Church, whatever it was, 9 freaking miles or whatever, that just seemed, every time we go around a corner, I was like, oh, I can't even look ahead. So the June Mountain climb was actually kind of pleasantly surprised me, that even as late as it was in the course. I mean, it was really steep. It was an ass kicker, but it was double track again. And I guess the technical is what gets me these days. And so it wasn't a technical climb. It was, and I had taken a nap at June Mountain, so maybe that helped. I was ready for it. But I think overall, the amount of roads probably was the thing that surprised me the most. There was just a lot of double track / dirt roads.
Before I ask the other two, you do bring up something I was gonna just quickly ask to see if anyone can just kind of like, chime in. A lot of these other 200 plus mile races have like a signature moment, something you got to be aware of or look forward to or like prepare for, or the section is just like, whether it's the first 50K at Cocodona or Pole Canyon to Geyser and Moab or Shea Mountain or Bigfoot, you got Klickitat and some other sections. I mean, did this race contain anything that's like, you need to specifically be careful with this section, inclement weather excluded? Anything like that at this race?
I'd say the climb out of Green Church was just one I'd be ready for. Maybe it was just, I hit it early in the morning. It got hot when we were climbing out. I don't know. That's the one that comes to mind for me. I'd be interested what others say.
Yeah. What about you, Kevin?
I was gonna say overall, not really. Like, I think it's a plenty challenging course, but kind of like subtly so. There's not like these big heavy hitters that some of the others you mentioned. The hardest section for me was the descent into the June Lake area. I did that at night. It was rocky. It was technical. I hated it. It never ended. I fell
Overgrown.
5 times.
Yeah. I agree. I thought the descent going from the top to June was extremely hard. And I'd done it in scouting, and it was so not hard then, but it was like painfully slow during the actual race itself. And then I thought that the final descent off of the summit felt really similar. It was like 2 or 3 miles of like the same exact grade and the same exact amount of technicality and sandy, and like you're almost done. And it just seemed like both of those descents seemed like they never ended. So I was surprised at those, but I think a lot of this course maybe depends on what time of day that you hit it. I hit the section right after Crater Mountain. It's very flat. It's very runnable, but I hit going into Lee Vining in like mid-morning, and it was challenging because it was hot. So, and like very dry and not, and in the section right after that, coming right out of Lee Vining, you're on these frontage roads that are just like not inspiring and don't have any airflow. At the time of day I was there, which again was like that kind of mid-morning to noon sort of area. And I thought those were, I guess you said no weather, but depending on the time of day, I think you have to kind of think about weather making the course a little more challenging.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear some of the stories about the inclement weather, which I'll ask here next up. But Adam, what about you? What surprised you most about this race, especially after having done so many others this year?
I thought the course itself was really beautiful. It kept it interesting. You were always coming up on different sections that were very dramatically different from other parts. So I guess what actually surprised me the most was coming into Lee Vining. My friend Josh showed up and is like, "Hey, I'm going to pace you, and you can sleep in my van, and you can throw my compression leg compression sleeves on for a second. I'm like, oh, I thought I just had a drop bag here. So that was a huge shift and just a huge positive change for me, because getting into lee vining from crater, that along the lake for me in the middle of the night, I was at the end of my sleep cycle or whatever. I was kind of just zigzagging back and forth. I think that 10 miles took me like 10 hours. It felt like it anyway. I was dead, and I was on a zombie march. And so getting into there and finding Josh really was an amazing surprise. But as far as the course goes, up from Grant into that front range of the mountains there, amazing colors, like the time of the year that it is right now, with all the colors and the aspens, it's just beautiful. And if you hit it during the day, it's really cool. What I missed, I think a lot of, was the craters, because both the times I went through both the two big craters, it was nighttime. So all I could see was my headlamp just shining. And I was like, this is a totally like moon planet I'm on right now, but it looked really cool.
And then Christian, what surprised you, especially this being your first 200? Just in general, what were you surprised about the most?
Well, I think if there's one part of the course that didn't before the race and hasn't since gotten the credit it deserves, is the section by Walker Lake. Like, I had not even heard Walker Lake in any of the pre stuff, and I thought that was arguably the prettiest place I've ever been on Earth. Like, it was amazing.
Where was Walker Lake? Was that the one you went right around the lake, or was that the one right after the Grant Lake?
No, that's where you went around the lake. And there was a little dock there, and it was just dead. When I got there, it was just absolutely dead still. We literally walked up to a deer, and like it was like out of a movie. And it had that weird kind of crazy little climb out of that, up and out of there. But yeah, I thought that part of the course was the part that surprised me. I'm like, this was not in the guidebook. So.
And we want to get into people's psyche here about, let's see how worried and scared some of you get. Was there any terrifying moments? I know the inclement weather was pretty terrifying, but we'll talk about that in a second. But were there any moments that any of you had where you were just like a little worried, or just kind of mentally just put you in a low moment or a state of panic? And I'm just looking at all of you, and none of you look like you get phased very much. So that could just be me. But Kevin, let's start with you, man. Was there anything like that at all other than the weather?
Normally I get very phased. But this was like I don't know, it was a different race for me. It felt very like calm and clinical and like just kind of chill. I approached it better than I have in the past. So normally I have a lot of moments like that, but I can't really think of any. Maybe the closest I got was the time my phone died and I immediately got lost. Like the second I didn't have Gaia, I was like, where am I? It was kind of comical. It was coming into lee vining, like before you dip back down into that like annoying single track that went on for longer than you wanted it to. I popped out into that parking lot and missed the markers, and like you can see on my Strava, like I just did circles of that parking lot because my phone was dead, and I felt a little helpless for a second. And then I was like, you have the course on your watch, load it, figure it out. So that's what I did. And then everything was fine. But yeah, for the most part, it was a pretty level-headed race. It felt like I was able to stay pretty focused and not panic about anything too much.
Would you say, because especially with the handicap they were giving yourself with trying not to sleep, it just sounds like overall things went pretty smooth. Would you say this is one of the most smooth 200 plus mile races you've done?
I would say it is the most smooth, yeah.
Nice.
It's kind of hilarious, Kevin. That's the same section I got lost on, was getting into lee vining, and I had spent 2 days in lee vining before the race. Like, I knew where that aid station was, but I just walked by it. Like, I mean, I had said that I was completely at the end of my awakeness.
Yeah, I
just walked by it, and my phone was dead, and I had to turn it on my watch, which luckily you gave me.
Yeah, that's right. In the starting corral.
In the starting corral with 30 seconds before the start.
Saved your race. I mean, you're so lucky, you know me.
I would have found it. Lee vining is not that big, but I was wandering around.
I got lost again, like in lee vining. Like I went past the little split. So like that whole lee vining was a bit of a shit show for me. But other than that, smooth sailing.
Wait, did you not have a battery pack at all, or did you not know your
Well,
phone was that dead?
My battery pack was dead and my phone was dead.
Oh shit!
When you spend the entire race in the live stream, you get these things happen.
Yeah, not sleeping.
And chatting with your wife for your anniversary, that drained it too, probably.
Oh,
That's worth it though. That was worth it.
Yeah,
That's great.
drains the battery and your soul.
Yeah. I would have hugged a tree and blew a whistle. At least that's what I was told to do in Barney growing up. Literally hug a tree, blow a whistle, which all our vests have one, which I only just found that out not long ago. So, but yeah, since you were already talking a bit about it, anything fazed you, worried you a bit at all, Adam? Because every time I see you, you seem unfazed, same expression, even after 200 plus miles. So.
I have my down moments, and so like getting into Levining was my down moment of this race. Going down into Crater Aid Station, I'm still not sure what they were, but I saw a herd of like a whole bunch of eyes, and they weren't tall enough to be deer. They weren't small enough to be something small, but they bounced around like rabbits. I don't know what they were. So this kind of freaked me out. And I went 100 yards still looking over my shoulder. And to this day, I'm still not sure what they were. And they blended in with the rocks too. So
what are you gonna? How are you gonna react when you see the exact same thing at Moab?
I'm gonna just follow Gaia.
Carol, what about you?
Well, I had low moments for sure. I wouldn't say it was a panic moment, but we were on along Mono Lake there, and there was one of those jackrabbits with the giant ears on the trail right in front of us, and it stopped and turned around and like charged at me. And the only thing I can think of, a rabbit that's going to come at you is going to be rabid. I mean, he took about 2 good hops and then went off. I guess decided the better of it. It went off into the brush. But I did have a moment of can't believe I'm going to make it this far and I'm going to get attacked by a rabid animal. So I don't know. I was pretty sleep deprived, but I'm pretty sure. And it was a rabbit. It wasn't big, but that was the only. Actually, I was a little disappointed in the wildlife. We didn't see much at all. I guess Rachel and all the people in front of us scared them all away. But there wasn't. I guess Callie Vinson said that she saw wild horses going through, and we were hoping to see maybe the sheepdogs out there over by Crowley, but we didn't see. That there was a lack of wildlife. I was a little disappointed.
I'm not. That sounds good for next year. So Christian, what about you? Any of those moments just that terrified you or got you kind of down low?
No, not really. Yeah, I mean, not a ton of wildlife. We did see the deer out at Walker Lake, and I was absolutely 100% convinced that I was going to get to see bear on this run. And there were and I live in Tucson, Arizona. I did not see one bear. There apparently was one scourging the parking lot of the condo that we rented.
They should have come to our condo. They broke into my truck twice. So if you wanted to see bears, you needed to come to town.
Yeah, or the grocery store like 4 miles from my house here in Tucson, a bear came wandering around the grocery store here in Tucson. So, yeah, but other than that, no crazy wildlife, and just kind of your normal lows of
Yeah. Wow. I get terrified easily, so I knew you guys would be a little stronger than me. Rachel, what about you? According to everyone, you must have encountered everything that would have scared the average human, since you're the reason why they didn't see them to begin with. So
I think I saw some rabbits, but that's pretty much about it. I know Jimmy saw a cougar, which I was thankful to not see. But yeah, he was heading up to June, I think, and saw a mountain lion. But yeah, I mean, I think we saw maybe a couple of deer. I'd seen the wild horses previously on a scouting trip. So I felt justified that I at least seen them once. I do know that they exist. And they were really cool. But and then we have bears. I love bears. I love getting to see bears. I didn't see any on this course. So yeah, I would say despite being in a different spot on the course, I didn't really see a whole lot either.
Yeah, no low moments or anything that kind of worried you other than maybe your placement in the race?
No, I mean, I think mountain, that section wasn't my favorite. And I was also kind of tired at that point. So maybe that was considered a low point, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of have to echo what Kevin said. Like, this was probably among one of the easier 200s, like from a mental standpoint, that I've done. Like, I went into the race feeling pretty good about my training and pretty confident with my fitness. And I wasn't really that anxious because I've done this a couple times now. So I kind of knew stuff is going to happen that you can't control, but I know how to handle a lot of the stuff that is pretty stereotypically thrown my way. So it was, I mean, all truth be told, it was a pretty like easy, or not easy. Easy is the wrong word, but like an easy time.
Right. Relatively compared to others.
Right. Like I didn't really, I don't know. Like I had some blisters, but like who cares? Yeah.
Yes. So who here actually had to battle the inclement weather? Who here got stuck in it and has some unique, fun stories to tell? Carol, you raised your hand first, so let's go with you.
So we came up on, we were coming up into the Summit aid station. So I don't know, it must have been about like around 70 hours in, 70, no, a little bit more than that. Anyway, so we were hoping to make it before the rain hit. And obviously we didn't. Heavens opened up. The wind I was really worried. I was a little wobbly at that point anyway, and I was a little bit worried I was going to get blown off. But the lightning, we had lightning close enough that it sprayed us with the rocks. Like it hit and there was rock spraying all over. So I had a pacer with me. We both hit the ground, through our poles, which of course promptly came flying right back at us because we had them strapped on. So that was probably kind of a futile attempt. And then, we're out there. It was at that point, I know later on and through the night it became snow, but it was ice pellets when we were up there. And we, had to do the debate, like, do we go back? Clearly it wasn't safe where we were, but we were as far from the back aid station as we were from the aid station in front of us. And so at one point the wind literally blew my pacer over, thankfully into the mountain instead of off of the mountain. But the lightning was the issue more. I know later on there was snow on the ground. We didn't have that. It was ice pellets that were kind of, so anyway, I had the thought as we were stumbling in, I always said I wanted to die doing something I loved. I'm not sure this was exactly the moment that I really wanted it to be, but it might be, because there's no way out but through at this point. We did find a juniper bush somewhere that we tried to huddle under for a while to just like get our hoods on and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think they didn't reroute it until the next day. I think it was the snow that finally, but they did close it. Every time there was a lightning strike up there, they closed it for 30 minutes. And so we got stuck there for about 45 minutes. And then once we came down the other side, the wind was a little bit better. It wasn't quite as terrifying. But the divide was one other time. The divide and Mammoth are the only two times I've ever thought I might actually be coming to the end. And then of course, it was hard, once we got in there to go back out in it. So to Rachel's point, I don't know, it might have been better to have that weather at the beginning when I was a little bit less freaking done with the whole thing.
I mean, that mountain was peppered. Just
Yeah.
Looking at photos and videos of it out, days later, just like, wow. Did any of you three that were closer to the front encounter have to battle through any of this at all?
I doubt it. I don't think it came in until it was like.
I don't even think. Yeah, I don't even think I got rained on. So
yeah, I had made the mistake of thinking, man, I can't believe I made it, 3 whole days and I didn't get any rain or anything. I was like, this is lovely. And
so you probably brought all this on.
Yeah. I jinxed
telling
it. I
Hillary.
made that mistake.
What I'm curious about, and maybe Rachel knows this, is they had to do all those holds, especially like Tuesday, where people were being held for hours. Like, what would they have done if that was at the front of the race? Like, what if Rachel rolled into Minaret Vista and they were like, "Hey, you can't go forward." Like I wonder how they would have handled that.
I mean, I assume the same way that it was handled at the back of the pack. I don't think that there's differences just based off where you're placed. I think it's all just due to safety.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd imagine it doesn't matter if you're me, Jimmy, or DFL. Like if it's not safe for you to continue, then you're stuck. I just wonder what would happen if like maybe the weather prohibits you from reaching cutoff. Like if you're stuck up on the field, if you're chasing, did that happen?
I think it did. The woman who finished
Okay.
after cutoff, and I'm pretty sure that they extended because she got stuck in multiple holds, and she ended up finishing like 2.
I saw it was 112. I was confused by that. So
yeah,
they extended the cutoff.
I think it was because she got. Go ahead, Christian.
They extended the cutoffs by 3 hours at the back end.
Yeah, so I've never posited that question before, but if it happens to the front runners, and then let's say someone's like a few hours ahead in first place, and all of a sudden everyone's stuck together, like
And then you leave altogether.
that's just kind of epic. I know it sucks forever. Isn't that just kind of cool? Like you're ready to do battle again. It's like restarting the race, but you guys are already in the shit at this point. I would like to see it happen to the front runners at some point. They sound like they're you guys.
I think. I mean, because it's not just, especially 200 milers are not just about how physically prepared you are, but how mentally stable you can be when things get really tough. So I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly glad that it hasn't happened to me yet, because that would be a hard thing to face. But maybe one day it will, and I'll get to figure out what kind of person I am when I'm stuck for 2 hours and don't get to go at my own pace and get to watch people that I already passed hanging out with me and for 2 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that divide, it happened when that bear encounter occurred. A couple people got through, but then they held everyone else from like 3 through 5 were held at the aid station. And so one guy was there for 2 hours, I think, and then we all caught him, and he was not thrilled to see us. and then the people he was chasing were now 2 hours ahead. So it's a mental thing for sure, because you're gonna have to deal with it, and it's the reality of the situation that you're in. It would be interesting to see if races start thinking about that, and then do a timing situation where they release runners based off of when they enter, at least for the front, if everyone's equal. And I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it would be interesting.
Remember Badwater did that one year where there was a reroute or something, and everyone was held for 23 minutes, whether they wanted to stop or not, so that it was consistent. I mean, you can't do that with weather, but like if there's some kind of, they tried to be as fair as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up DNFing Tahoe last year because I stopped for too long at an aid station, and the dust just settled in my lungs. And by the time I got on the course, I couldn't breathe, and I was near the end, and so I was just like trapped because I couldn't breathe anymore. So I had to get like helped off. So I mean, like, there's sometimes you just don't want to stop, and it can really kill momentum. But also, like, in dustier environments, resting for too long, even just any of those with respiratory issues at that point in the race is usually not advised. So yeah, there could be some problems with that. There's a lot of stage races, especially in cycling, that kind of just like, yeah, they'll do a time-based system. You guys can leave together, but this person has like a 23-minute buffer or 2-hour buffer, So Rachel may finish first, but the guy that she beat by an hour still won by 1 hour because he was still 2 hours ahead, something like that. That is more anticlimactic at the end, though. I see Rachel running through the finish line first, but she's not first. So that's kind of interesting. So I've never thought about this scenario before. So as we get near the end, we're gonna leave it to you guys. Is there any other fun tidbits that any of you have about this race, or any questions you may have for each other that you guys want
I
us
have
to talk
one
about?
for
All right, go
sure.
ahead, Rachel.
Yeah,
Start
I
with
want
you.
to know what aid station everybody was the happiest to get to. Like, oh, yay, I'm finally at this spot. That I always like to reflect on that after the race. So curious if you guys have any answers.
For me, June Mountain to the end was amazing. So June, and I had a foot massage at June Mountain. I got amazing food. I didn't get any of this espresso. I missed out on that. But yeah, I would say that just as a pivotal point, those last 40 miles are really great.
Anyone else glad to get to any aid station whatsoever?
Oh,
Or did it just
everyone.
piss you off when you got to one?
I'd say probably Lee Vining for me because unlike Kevin and Rachel, I sleep. And that was kind of a stretch for me on the sleep. Like it was a little bit farther than I wanted to go, but Crater Mountain wasn't really an option to sleep. So I wasn't like weaving around, but I was pretty dang ready to see my bright blue pick 'em up truck and with the sleeping bag in the back.
Mhm.
And the finish line, of course.
What about you, Kevin? Anything you were excited to see aid station wise?
I think it was maybe Crowley Lake. I didn't really anticipate having pacers for this race. I had the pacer set up for one of the nights, but I accumulated some pacers along the way and was just really excited to I think that was where we could start having pacers. And my first one was Brody Chisholm, who I just love Brody. He's so awesome, and I was just stoked to it was his first time ever pacing, and we just had a blast out there. So I was really excited to get going with him, and happy that I was still running pretty well at that point, so I could I don't know, hopefully at least get his heart rate to triple digits.
What about you, Adam? Anything aid station made you happy to see?
Aside from June Mountain, I will say that the Path Project's aid station was really a nice relief. They had rice balls and I don't know, all these unique food things. And I mean, I'll sit there and eat forever and then make it up trying to run. But I'll take advantage of aid stations. Kevin might go fast through them, but I'll sit there and eat forever.
Which was your favorite, Rachel?
Which is like the second to last one. But at that point, it's like, all right, the race is over. Like whatever happens here is probably. And again, I mean, I'm telling this from a very good weather standpoint. But yeah, I was really. It felt like I was close to the end when I was at Minaret Vista. But outside of that one, probably June. I knew Katie Asmuth was in charge of that aid station. She was a little bit on my crew. She paced me during the Glass Mountains. So just like kind of getting to full circle, see her again was something that I was really looking forward to. And that aid station, I would actually buy that aid station after finishing and hung out for a little bit and actually got to eat some of the food that was there. And it was super legit. I had 2 breakfast burritos like consecutively. They were so good. So that one was really fun.
Does anyone else here have any fun tidbits or questions for the other participants they would like to share?
Adam, you feel ready for Moab in 5 days?
I just have to finish up some work stuff, and then I'm heading out tomorrow. And then, yeah, it'll be a long drive down there, but I'm excited for it. Everything's kind of a big, quick recovery. And then like the day before, I feel like, I'm ready to run again.
Yeah.
So
looks good.
it's really a fun feeling to see how that body turnaround goes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's a hell of a way to end. Moab is an interesting course. Just I don't like slick rock, but then before it kicks your ass for too much and it switches to a mountain and then some road. That road in the middle is always fun. That's when I start tripping balls, man. That's like oh man, dude, it's just everyone turns off their headlamps. You can leave it that way for like 20 miles. depending on how fast you are, obviously.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna have a full-ish moon, or at least more moon than we had at Mammoth. So it was interesting to have the moon pop up for like 10 minutes at Mammoth, and then it would go away. Never saw it again.
All right. So if that's it, just really fast. So what's next for everyone? Adam, you obviously have Moab coming up next, but Kevin,
Moab and then Javelina.
Oh wow. Okay, so it's not really done. You're just double dipping in the desert. I see. So, what about you, Kevin? What's up next?
Well, I'll keep an eye out for any other like Taco Bell 50K-esque type challenges throughout the fall and winter here. We'll see what pops up, but I've got not much on the schedule for quite a while. 50 miler in January, Badwater Salton Sea with Peter and Tim in April, and then I'll be out of Cocodona to do Bradshaw Brute, and then cheer on the Cocoa Crazies afterwards.
Wow, yeah, I'm considering doing the bird as well. But Stephanie, aren't we supposed to do the Sultan that race? Didn't they
You
vote on
always
that?
bail on me. I always try to set that up
We
because
had
I think it would be a horrible, miserable documentary if they tried to get me and you to run
and
80 miles
Dylan.
together.
So us three, our
Dylan and I can
listeners-
do 50 miles together. We've done that twice, like fat ass style.
Why are you questioning me all of a sudden? What's going on here? Just because
Because
I
you
haven't
are
ran
so
in, like,
unpredictable. We don't know what's going to show up.
Years ago, we had our listeners vote what race we should run together, and they voted that one, which happened to be perfect for Stephanie. So she wants to do it. I think it would be terrible. It would just be like some war movie where it's like, don't leave me behind, but no, don't you
So-
can't leave me behind, or
Honestly, I don't know if it's 2 women or 3 women. Like, there's a record that I think that we could beat if I can get women that would want to, like, because there's so many mixed groups in Salton Sea that I feel like we could be competitive. Which I don't know. This was years ago. I might be in a different age group. It might not even be a record I could attempt. But
Yeah, that's not happening. Me and Rex
looking for some badass women that want to do Salton Sea with me.
There we go, Rachel. She volunteered.
I couldn't keep up with her. She would be miserable with me like I'm going to be if I ran with you.
Just be a training run. Yeah, and you see how it feels. I mean, as we know, history is on her side. She's easily peer pressured into doing stuff. So, Rachel, what's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, same as Kevin, I kind of don't have a ton on the schedule competitively. But next year, the only thing that I'm like sure on so far is I'd like to try to do Coldwater Rumble. I haven't ever done that race, and I think it seems, yeah, okay, good, cool, good to know. It sounds
every January I want to.
I've done it a couple times, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it looks cool. So I usually do across the years every year, but I am thinking of mixing up my life.
You should still go to across the years because I may do that.
All right, well, we'll see. But yeah, but that's, I mean, I might jump into a couple small, like the Hunter S. Thompson. I had to miss it last year because I was moving and I was really sad about it. So I might try to do that. It's a 50 miler. It's a fat ass 50 miler in San Francisco. If anyone's interested, it's so much fun. It's on roads, just so you know, but it's really fun. And then I don't know, maybe like a fixed time event before the year's up, but I haven't signed up for anything yet. I was just kind of trying to get through this. So
I think this could be a good shtick, though. Just like if you have nothing on the schedule and you want something, just have maybe the community vote.
Well,
just do an open voting.
Yeah, that's what Kevin says. He says I should put it on Instagram and be like, what race should I do next? And it's like, dude, I'm not doing that. I can barely keep up with my own schedule.
Just maybe once or twice.
But the best part is you're just taking ideas. You're just giving them the impression that they're helping you brainstorm. It's you that's gonna ultimately decide it. Once they throw something out, yeah.
I'm a sucker, dude. I will do the thing that they say. So I don't know.
All right, we'll help you.
Okay, so then I agree. Don't put it out there.
Is Kevin signed up for anything?
Ninth year in a row. I don't think so. Not yet. Anyway.
Yeah, well, gotta get him signed up for something based off of what you just said. So, Carol, what about you? What's coming up next?
I am hoping to do the Maricopa Trail. That goes around Phoenix into December, and then the Black Canyon Trail. And I turned 60 this year. So this year I'm doing a bunch of like self-guided tours. Other than I won an entry into High Lonesome. So that's the only actual race I have on my calendar. And then, I was really impressed last year. I volunteered just to kind of see how it went, and it was just an amazing race. So, and then at the end of the year, there's a trail. I had never heard of it, the Madahe Trail. It's in the Badlands area of North Dakota. And it's a race, but it's really, you can start and finish anytime between the 1st of May and the 31st of October. So I'm going to kind of wrap my year up with that in September. Doing out and back. It's a 300-mile. It's 150 each way. So I'm going to drag my husband up there, and we're going to spend the week in North Dakota.
If you need help with Maricopa Trail, let me know. I'll fly out to Arizona.
Be careful making those offers.
I helped Callie. I told Callie on the podcast, and I went and helped her. So I'm serious. I got my miles built up.
Yeah.
People think we joke, or maybe they think we're just threatening.
No, Andrew, because you always talk shit that you don't follow through with.
Don't talk shit.
Were you at Mammoth 200?
Medical and life reasons. Regina where's Regina?
Who said that they would run an aid station for West Plate and flew to Montana and ran his aid station? That was me.
We are people of our word.
Yeah.
Sorry that I let you down, Kevin. We will have another race against each other, and we will FaceTime together at the same time.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. You
I'll
shouldn't be talking shit.
How's that talking shit? It's not talking.
Making promises.
It's just like, I would have been there. Trust me, I wanted to be there, but then Regina.
You are the reason I have trust issues, Andrew.
Okay. Well, you're easy to break. It's not a lot of trust was lost, so it didn't take much. But we'll see though. Now I kind of want to do stuff harder.
I feel like you should do it just to prove me wrong. Like that one person you had to pay $1,000 for beating a course record. That was something that you stuck to your word on. Dude. He said if someone comes out here and does this race in Texas and beat the course record, and where was he from?
Kansas, and he beat the course record.
He had no idea about that.
I did it.
He Venmo'd him $1,000.
Okay, listen, I did it because I said I was going to do it, not to prove you wrong. Okay, you didn't just listen.
True, Andrew did Venmo me $1,000 breaking the course record at High Lonesome, for what it's worth.
And just installments, though. But no, that's not.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but.
So Andrew, I take back what I said.
Yeah,
you only give me some trust issues.
No, but some stuff is done behind the scenes. Okay, I don't need to make it public all the time, Stephanie. Okay.
I don't have a Cash App. Listen, I don't use Cash App, but I have one friend on there, and it's Andrew.
This episode is
every time I hop on, he's sending Rachel money.
This is no longer about the Mammoth anymore.
This episode is brought to you by Bigger Than the Trail, where you can get free therapy for.
Honestly, as someone that works in psych, I should be the bigger man here, and I'm about to go to work, so let's end on this note. Congratulations to all of you. Christian, I know you're there listening to this. He disappeared into the ether, so he's with us though.
He got caught in the weather.
He got caught in the weather. The mammoth storm found him after all. He thought he avoided it, but no, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yes, we really loved having you on.
And thank you for listening to our first part of some small roundtable discussions about the Mammoth with some very accomplished individuals. Good luck to all of your future endeavors. And yes, if you need help, seek out Bigger Than a Trail, as he alluded to. Always doing good work out there. So thank you guys for joining us. And as always, happy endings.
Happy ending.
And then this wasn't a very happy ending, though. So let's reflect on this, everyone.